I'm back. It shut down on me, my computer, and all that stuff. So, but we're back. Um, as I stating, so story. Kid goes in the house after seeing. I'm guessing it's a ghost. Um, so it's probably that the doll maker wasn't active anymore in the house. So when we were playing at the beginning of the game, that was when the doll maker was active, still going after kids. Um, but when we play as Armin, he this is after he is probably dead. That might be the person we found in that purple room that he had killed himself. And Armin goes in, discovers what the guy had been doing. And yeah, he can't take the memories knowing that he can't do anything about it to help him. And he kills himself. That is terribly sad. But hey, we were able to do it in one playthrough, so that's nice. I feel like in that case, because it was so short. Let me see. Dagon's small. I say we try out Dagon. Let me go ahead and install that. Sorry about my live stream crashing. Sometimes my computer likes to act up, and I kind of noticed it was acting kind of slow. But sometimes what happens is if I'm playing a game, my computer is just shut down completely. And that's what happened. When it does that, the live stream gets cut off and everything. So what's probably going to happen is I'm going to download the live stream after I'm done and anything and edit it and put these two videos together. And then I'll just delete the live stream videos. That way, everything's all concise and together. So Dagon. That was the other game that was voted for. That was second place. Let me get the Steam page up for that. What is this red room? The red door. Okay, so it was that. Yeah, it was pretty messed up. So Dagon, again, is supposedly 32 minutes. Yeah, 32 minutes to an hour. It does take long. Yeah. So it seems to be 15 to 30 minutes. So it's not long. We're going to run through it. It is... Let me read the page for you once I get the game up. Yes, play. YouTube is not what? Saying something on YouTube that there's something wrong with that, but I'm not seeing what the issue is. Maybe it's a little slow right now. Let me go ahead and read the Steam page as this tries to load up. Let's see. Dagon by H.P. Lovecraft. It was developed and published by Bit Golem. It says, face unspeakable horror, succumb to madness. Welcome to a free demonic narrative experience inspired by H.P. Lovecraft. It is horror Lovecraftian in a visual novel. Not sure what all that means. It has pretty good high ratings. Why does it take so long to load up? This is also not a big game. It should not be taking this long. I don't know why there's so much lag today. It's kind of weird. Let me grab my Wi-Fi cable and hook it up directly. Okay. So that's going now. It's a bit loud in my ear. I'm still low. That one. Gamma. Turn on the saddle a little bit. I'll probably have to read. Oh wait, no. They might read it for me. Okay. So, as I stated, it is a visual novel, and it's only about 30 minutes. So let me double check, make sure the recording's going well. I don't know what's going on today. It's so slow. Alright, it's not letting me do it. Never mind. I mean, it's working on the recording, so I guess we're fine. Actually, I guess I can just not do full screen mode. Ah, it's awful. Alright, let's get started. Dagon is a faithful interactive adaptation of H.P. Lovecraft's work focused on story and atmosphere. You will not find difficult choices, action sequences, or inventory management here, and movement is limited to progressing through locations along with the plot.
I am writing this under an appreciable mental strain, since by tonight I shall be no more.
During the game, you will encounter interactive elements. Some of them will allow you to continue your journey, others reveal interesting facts about the original short story, its historical background, and the author. Some of the trivia is hidden. In order to find these secrets, focus your eyes and look for the Elder sign.
Penniless, and at the end of my supply of the drug which alone makes life endurable, I can bear the torture no longer, and shall cast myself from this garret window into the squalid street below.
We a bit dramatic. We a bit. But I get it.
Do not think from my slavery to morphine that I am a weakling or a degenerate. When you have read these hastily scrawled pages, you may guess, though never fully realize, why it is that I must have forgetfulness or death.
Uh-oh. What did you do? Morphine. Morphine entered into use in the 19th century. It was routinely administered to treat severe pain during the American Civil War and World War I. It was also sold without restrictions until 1914. Morphine became more popular after the invention of hypodermic syringe around 1854. Frederick Sturner, who first isolated the substance, originally named it morphium after Morpheus, the Greek god associated with dreams. At the time when Diagon was published, morphine abuse, known as soldier's disease, already posed a big problem in the United States. You can read the discovered trivia immediately or go back to them later in the main menu. Turn off display trivia if you find that the feature distracts you from the story. This can be changed anytime.
It was in one of the most open and least frequented parts of the broad Pacific that the packet of which I was supercargo fell a victim to the German sea raider. The Great War was then at its very beginning, and the ocean forces of the Hun had not completely sunk to their later degradation, so that our vessel was made a legitimate prize, whilst we of her crew were treated with all the fairness and consideration due us as naval prisoners.
The Huns were Central Asian nomads who established a dominion in Europe and invaded the Roman Empire in the 5th century AD. They were known as brutal, deadly warriors and masters of quick raids who also developed powerful composite bows, lassos, and early siege weapons. During World War I, the British used the word "nun" as a synonym for Germans in order to emphasize their brutality. However, the term originated when the German Emperor Wilhelm II gave a speech to his troops on 27th July 1900. Before they embarked to China, before you encounter an enemy, he will be defeated. No quarter will be given, prisoners will not be taken. Whoever falls into your hands is forfeited. Just 1,000 years ago, the Huns, under their king Attila, made a name for themselves, one that even today makes them seem mighty in history and legend. May the name German be affirmed by you in such a way in China that no Chinese will ever again dare to look cross-eyed at a German. The refusal to take prisoners was a clear breach of the laws and customs of war adopted during the first Hague Convention of 1899.
So liberal, indeed, was the discipline of our captors, that 5 days after we were taken, I managed to escape alone in a small boat with water and provisions for a good length of time. When I finally found myself adrift and free, I had but little idea of my surroundings. Never a competent navigator, I could only guess vaguely by the sun and stars that I was somewhat south of the equator. Of the longitude, I knew nothing, and no island or coastline was in sight. The weather kept fair, and for uncounted days I drifted aimlessly beneath the scorching sun, waiting either for some passing ship or to be cast on the shores of some habitable land. But neither ship nor land appeared, and I began to despair in my solitude upon the heaving vastness of unbroken blue. The change happened whilst I slept. Its details I shall never know, for my slumber, though troubled and dream-infested, was continuous.
The heck?
When at last I awoke, it was to discover myself half sucked into a slimy expanse of hellish black mire, which extended about me in monotonous undulations as far as I could see, and in which my boat lay grounded some distance away. Though one might well imagine that my first sensation would be of wonder at so prodigious and unexpected a transformation of scenery, I was in reality more horrified than astonished, for there was in the air and in the rotting soil a sinister quality which chilled me to the very core. The region was putrid with the carcasses of decaying fish and of other less describable things which I saw protruding from the nasty mud of the unending plain. Perhaps I should not hope to convey in mere words the unutterable hideousness that can dwell in absolute silence and barren immensity. There was nothing within hearing and nothing in sight save a vast reach of black slime. Yet the very completeness of the stillness and the homogeneity of the landscape oppressed me with a nauseating fear. The sun was blazing down from a sky which seemed to me almost black in its cloudless cruelty, as though reflecting the inky marsh beneath my feet. As I crawled into the stranded boat, I realized that only one theory could explain my position. Through some unprecedented volcanic upheaval, a portion of the ocean floor must have been thrown to the surface, exposing regions for which innumerable millions of years had lain hidden under unfathomable watery depths. So great was the extent of the new land which had risen beneath me that I could not detect the faintest noise of the surging ocean, straining my ears as I might, nor were there any seafowl to prey upon the dead things. For several hours I sat thinking or brooding in the boat, which lay upon its side and afforded a slight shade as the sun moved across the heavens. As the day progressed, the ground lost some of its stickiness and seemed likely to dry sufficiently for traveling purposes in a short time. That night I slept but little, and the next day I made for myself a pack containing food and water, preparatory to an overland journey in search of the vanished sea and possible rescue. On the third morning, I found the soil dry enough to walk upon with ease.
I don't know why it skipped. I didn't click it.
All day I forged steadily westward, guided by a faraway hummock which rose higher than any other elevation on the rolling desert. That night I encamped, and on the following day still travelled toward the hummock, though that object seemed scarcely nearer than when I had first espied it. By the fourth evening, I attained the base of the mound, which turned out to be much higher than it had appeared from a distance. An intervening valley setting it out in sharper relief from the general surface. Too weary to ascend, I slept in the shadow of the hill. I know not why my dreams were so wild that night, but ere the waning and fantastically gibbous moon had risen far above the eastern plain,
to the one who just came into the chat. It's a game called Dagon. I had finished 9 Chow Street. It was only like an hour 15. And Dagon is only like 30 minutes. So I'm going to run through the Dagon. It is a visual novel. So it's just, I guess, going through the slow mental crumbling of this sailor or something.
I was awake in a cold perspiration, determined to sleep no more. Such visions as I had experienced were too much for me to endure again. And in the glow of the moon I saw how unwise I had been to travel by day. Without the glare of the parching sun, my journey would have cost me less energy.
Yeah, he was sailing. He was a prisoner of war. I think it's like World War One or something. And he escaped from the ship he was imprisoned on, and now he's here.
Indeed, I now felt quite able to perform the ascent which had deterred me at sunset. Picking up my pack, I started for the crest of the eminence.
Hello, Nico's thing. How goes it?
I have said that the unbroken monotony of the rolling plain was a source of vague horror to me. But I think my horror was greater when I gained the summit of the mound and looked down the other side into an immeasurable pit or canyon.
Yeah, it's a visual novel. So, like, I guess we're doing 2 walking simulators today. Because, I finished 9 Chow Street a little bit ago. And so this one is literally just like, you look at something, you zoom in, you click it, he speaks. So it's literally just, and this is probably why the game's so short. It's only 30 minutes. It's literally just dude talks, and you have a creepy atmosphere.
Whose black recesses the moon had not yet soared high enough to illumine. I felt myself on the edge of the world, peering over the rim into a fathomless chaos of eternal night.
Walking simulators are they're sometimes the best.
Through my terror ran curious reminiscences of Paradise Lost, and of Satan's hideous climb through the unfashioned realms of darkness. As the moon climbed higher in the sky, I began to see that the slopes of the valley were not quite so perpendicular as I had imagined.
Yeah, thus far all we know about this guy is that he wants to kill himself and he's addicted to morphine, and he's explaining why.
Ledges and outcroppings of rock afforded fairly easy footholds for a descent, whilst after a drop of only a few hundred feet, the declivity became very gradual.
The graphics seem fine for the most part. It seems like it's capturing pretty accurately on the live stream. It's nothing crazy since it is just a walking simulator.
Urged on by an impulse which I cannot definitely analyze, I scrambled with difficulty down the rocks and stood on the gentler slope beneath, gazing into the Stygian deeps where no light had yet penetrated.
This is quite dark. I don't know what order to go in. I think it's just they do it one at a time. I don't think they're showing multiple paths you have to take at once. So I think you just go to the next one.
All at once, my attention was captured by a vast and singular object on the opposite slope, which rose steeply about 100 yards ahead of me.
Thanks, Nico's thing. I appreciate it.
An object that gleamed whitely in the newly bestowed rays of the ascending moon.
Ascending moon. There.
That it was merely a gigantic piece of stone, I soon assured myself. but I was conscious of a distinct impression that its contour and position were not altogether the work of nature. A closer scrutiny filled me with sensations I cannot express.
Ah, that sucks. Oh, feel better. Those aren't fun. Cramps are the
For
worst.
despite its enormous magnitude and its position in an abyss which had yawned at the bottom of the sea since the world was young, I perceived beyond a doubt that the strange object was a well-shaped monolith, whose massive bulk had known the workmanship and perhaps the worship of living and thinking creatures. Dazed and frightened, yet not without a certain thrill of the scientist's or archaeologist's delight, I examined my surroundings more closely.
I mean, I don't think he's on meth right now. He is addicted to meth, though.
The moon, now near the zenith, shone weirdly and vividly above the towering steeps that hemmed in the chasm, and revealed the fact that a far-flung body of water flowed at the bottom, winding out of sight in both directions and almost lapping my feet as I stood on the slope.
This gives me Prometheus vibes for some reason all of a sudden.
Across the chasm, the wavelets washed the base of the Cyclopean monolith, on whose surface I could now trace both inscriptions and crude sculptures.
So he found some monolith.
The writing was in a system of hieroglyphics unknown to me and unlike anything I'd ever seen in books, consisting for the most part of conventionalized aquatic symbols such as fishes, eels, octopi, crustaceans, mollusks, whales, and the like. Several characters obviously represented marine things which are unknown to the modern world,
Is that Cthulhu?
but whose decomposing forms I had observed on the ocean-risen plain.
Maybe. I don't know if he knows a lot about hieroglyphics. And there's always something about Trump in the news. It's kind of the thing now.
It was the pictorial carving, however, that did most to hold me spellbound.
Here we go. Trivia. Storytelling methods. Dagon contains many themes and storytelling methods that Lovecraft developed in his later works, such as telling the story through carvings at the mountains of mountainous, the nameless city, journals and characters' notes to shout out of time, the haunter of the dark, islands emerging from the ocean, the call of Cthulhu, or fictional beings and deities based on real events and mythologies. Migol in The Whisperer in Darkness is also considered the origin of the popular Cthulhu mythos. Some of Lovecraft's other stories also conclude in a manner similar to Dagon, but let's get the details in order not to spoil the ending. Yeah, it's Lovecraft. Yeah.
Plainly visible across the intervening water on account of their enormous size were an array of bas-reliefs whose subjects would have excited the envy of a Doré. I think that these things were supposed to depict men, at least a certain sort of men. Though the creatures were shown disporting like fishes in the waters of some marine grotto, or paying homage at some monolithic shrine which appeared to be under the waves as well. Of their faces and forms I dare not speak in detail, for the mere remembrance makes me grow faint. Grotesque beyond the imagination of a Poe or a Bulwer.
A lot of creepy faces. That is straight up just Cthulhu. Yeah.
They were damnably human in general outline, despite webbed hands and feet, shockingly wide and flabby lips, glassy, bulging eyes, and other features less pleasant to recall. Curiously enough, they seemed to have been chiseled badly out of proportion with their scenic background. For one of the creatures was shown in the act of killing a whale, represented as but little larger than himself. I remarked, as I say, their grotesqueness and strange size, but in a moment decided that they were merely the imaginary gods of some primitive fishing or seafaring tribe. Some tribe whose last descendant had perished eras before the first ancestor of the Piltdown or Neanderthal man was born. Awestruck at this unexpected glimpse into a past beyond the conception of the most daring anthropologist, I stood musing whilst the moon cast queer reflections on the silent channel before me. Then, suddenly, I saw it.
Number what?
With only a slight churning to mark its rise to the surface, the thing slid into view above the dark waters.
Oh, okay.
Unfamous-like and loathsome, it darted like a stupendous monster of nightmares to the monolith, about which it flung its gigantic scaly arms, the while it bowed its hideous head and gave vent to certain measured sounds. I think I went mad then.
I think he's gonna mess up the whales, I'm sorry.
Of my frantic ascent of the slope and cliff, and of my delirious journey back to the stranded boat, I remember little.
So the science slope sure we go crazy now.
I believe I sang a great deal and laughed oddly when I was unable to sing.
He could be on meth. Meth would do that.
I have indistinct recollections of a great storm sometime after I reached the boat. At any rate, I know that I heard pearls of thunder and other tones which nature utters only in her wildest moods.
Because he's in the middle of the ocean right now, by the way. It's just some of the plates rose up. And
When
he's
I came out
sitting
of
on
the
the ocean
shadows,
floor.
I was in a San Francisco hospital, brought thither by the captain of the American ship which had picked up my boat in mid-ocean. In my delirium, I had said much, but found that my words had been given scant attention.
And I am very glad this is narrated. I could not read this out accurately, and the whole ambiance would be destroyed.
Of any land upheaval in the Pacific, my rescuers knew nothing. Nor did I deem it necessary to insist upon a thing which I knew they could not believe.
Yeah, this is a hospital. Not up to code.
Once I sought out a celebrated ethnologist.
I'm not sure how the plates rose up. He was just sailing, he blacked out, and then suddenly he was on what looked like what was on the ocean floor, because there were a bunch of like dead bottom of the ocean creatures scurrying about on the land he was on. It was crazy wet. You want a croissant and a baguette because you're in San Francisco?
And amused him with peculiar questions regarding the ancient Philistine legend of Dagon, the fish god.
Dagon. He's okay. I've never heard of Dagon before. Dagon was the main deity of the Philistines, worshipped throughout the Middle East as the ancient god of fertility and crops. In Hebrew, the word Dagon was a common noun for grain. The rulers of Akkad, Mesopotamia, chose him as the patron saint of their war conquests. He also appeared as the judge of the dead in an Assyrian poem, and an underworld prison warder in one of the Babylonian texts. He is often mistakenly taken for a fish god due to the wrong interpretation of his name, as in Hebrew the word dag means fish. In H.P. Lovecraft's works, Dagon is an underwater deity ruling over the deep ones, a humanoid race with fish traits that resides in the oceans. He is worshipped by a secret cult called the Esoteric Order of Dagon. Oh, for real? I don't know, man. I've never heard of this guy in my life. Oh, for real? Oh, wow. Shoot, now I gotta go read that verse in the Bible because I don't recognize this guy at all. Off brain Godzilla.
But soon perceiving that he was hopelessly conventional, I did not press my inquiries.
Oh, another factoid. August Derleth in the Cthulhu mythos. August Derleth was an American writer and anthropologist. Anthologist, I think that's it. He also befriended Lovecraft and published many of his works through his company, Arkham House. Although he greatly contributed to the popularization of the author's works after his death, he is surrounded by numerous controversies. One of his most questionable decisions included introducing the good versus evil doctrine. Derleth was a devout Catholic to the Cthulhu mythos, which contrasted with Lovecraft's view of the world and his approach to cosmic horror. As a result, the author's works are often misunderstood and misrepresented in today's culture. It is also worth noting that Lovecraft was never really interested in creating a mythology, and the term Cthulhu mythos was coined by Derleth after the author left the mortal plane. Oh, mentioned in passing in First Chronicles and in First Samuel. Huh. Wild. Learn something new every day. I wonder why they call it Cthulhu mythos specifically. Like just.
It
Oh,
is
and
at
we're
night,
back.
especially when the moon is gibbous and waning, that I see the thing.
What, the Cthulhu thing taking the monolith?
I tried morphine, but the drug has given only transient surcease and has drawn me into its clutches as a hopeless slave. So now I am to end it all, having written a full account for the information or the contemptuous amusement of my fellow men.
Hey, if you can say supercalifragilisticexpialidocious, you are better than a lot of people. Because honestly, I've never been able to pronounce that word until right now. So that's crazy. Let's try
Often,
different drugs.
I
Yeah.
ask myself if it could not all have been a pure phantasm, a mere freak of fever, as I lay sun-stricken and raving in the open boat after my escape from the German man-of-war. This I ask myself, but ever does there come before me a hideously vivid vision in reply. I cannot think of the deep sea without shuddering at the nameless things that may at this very moment be crawling and floundering on its slimy bed, worshipping their ancient stone idols and carving their own detestable likenesses on submarine obelisks of water-soaked granite. I dream of a day when they may rise above the billows to drag down into their reeking talons the remnants of puny, war-exhausted mankind. Of a day when the land shall sink and the dark ocean shall ascend amidst universal pandemonium.
I can't tell if the hospital was fake or not. Oh, we're back.
The end is near.
Uh-oh. Oh, yeah, he real druggy. He real drugged
I
out.
hear a noise at the door, as of some immense slippery body lumbering against it.
Oh, he
It
locked you.
shall not find me.
Cthulhu's coming.
God, that hand! The window! The window!
Thanks for playing. We hope you enjoy immersing yourself in our little pool of cosmic horror. We would appreciate if you took a moment to rate Dagon and check out the other games and DLCs. And that is Dagon. There's other things, but I don't have them right now, so I would get them another day. So I don't think he was drunk. I'm thinking what probably happened, he had a really bad morphine trip, because I don't, with how the screen and everything was getting all wavy in the end, and yeah, he jumped to his death because I think he had a really bad morphine trip and started to see Cthulhu, and so he jumped out the window. So he was a prisoner of war. He escaped via boat. He woke up on dry land with these sea creatures surrounding him, his boat no longer on water, etc. He waits 4 days. He starts walking on the land, which again seems to be the ocean floor. Comes upon this monolith that seems to depict Cthulhu. Creature comes out from under the water, takes the monolith. He wakes up in a hospital. Bro, what the heck are you on? What is going what? This is alright. Well, I mean, it was a good story. It was interesting, to say the least. I really can't tell the difference between reality and fiction, though, because dude was tripped up on freaking morphine. Oh, you weren't able to see what happened? Oh, yeah, you didn't actually see him jump out the window. Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, I have no idea what he was eating. He said he was able to pack some food with him when he first escaped from the ship. And he had some water. I don't know. My guess is that him writing these letters, that is reality. But then what happened to him out on that sea? It could be that he was hallucinating. I don't know. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking, that he was hallucinating. Yeah, and then because of those hallucinations, he got tripped up on the morphine, and the morphine probably made things worse, resulting in him seeing Cthulhu and jumping out a window. That was pretty cool. I like that. Nice little story. Yeah, he was probably high the entire time, which understandable considering the times. It seems to be during a time period, I'm not sure which way. I'm guessing World War One. Okay, I think he was captured by the Germans, and he was a prisoner on one of their ships. But yeah, let me know what you guys thought about it. I know it was really short, really sweet, but it was I feel it was pretty cool. It was creepy enough. I feel like I did a good job at keeping you intrigued, even though it truly was just look this way, click a button, listen to person talk. It was still interesting to cite that. So that's rare. I feel like it's hard to pull that off. I think it says 3 people because I am watching the chat via my phone, so it might be counting me as a viewer. All right, so I think actually that is okay. Scary stories have been accompanying men. They have many faces and forms. What is their purpose?
Why being afraid so much? During our I'll try to
Dr. Emerson's Nocturnes will guide you through all the colors of dread. Hungry for more? Dr. Emerson's Nocturnes. That was creepy. And these are the little trivia things you could find. I was really lazy with it. I didn't try that hard. It's fine. Huh. That was pretty cool. I might have to see about finding the DLCs. And if they're not too long, yeah, maybe I can steam through them one day. But, yeah, I think that would be it for today. This one did cost some money. It wasn't that expensive. I think it was like maybe $1 or $2, something like that. It wasn't that expensive, which, you know, might be a bit more than it really needed to be. But I'm not mad at it. It was fun enough. Plus, you get the DLC stuff. Uh-oh. My thing froze. That's not good. Well, I think I should probably end the live stream before my computer decides to shut down or something. So, I hope you guys enjoyed this. I will be doing some edits of this video and of the 9 Child Street video I did. My live stream messed up, so they're kind of separate. So I'm going to edit it so that they're together. And then that should be available tomorrow evening. I think I do have to, because I'm not able to do anything on my computer right now, so I think I had to shut it down. I'm really worried about it shutting down on me. So I want to close out before it's too late. So thanks for watching. I really appreciate it. Look forward to the edited version of these 2 videos that I'm going to post tomorrow. And we're also going to start Ninja Gaiden soon, so look forward to that. So that is it for today.